Hello, Tanya here from MiSlope.com. I am welcoming you to the MiSlope family with a quick overview of how to access the tools, what MiSlope is, and how to really get started with drafting. So, first thing you're going to do, if you haven't already made a purchase, you can see the entire library of tools within the pattern and block shop. So we got a lot of good ones to build up your library. So first off would be to purchase the tool like you would purchase anything online or purchase a typical PDF pattern. And once you've made your purchase, you need to make your account. So you can create an account here. If you go to the account page, create an account. And if you want to hear updates like new tools, new tool updates, and information, you can click this little subscribe button. So subscribe to the mailing list. Okay, so once you have created your account, you can head on over to the MiSlope drafting library, and this is where you're going to gain access to your tool. So we have everything in the everything available in the drafting library. So for example, if I wanted to access the open back Leo, because I just made a purchase, put in my password, and then I'm going to sign in. And then I'm going to have access to my tool. If you happen to not purchase a tool, or you purchased it and it's not activated, you're going to hit this page. So if you hit this page and you've made the purchase, number one, check to see if you clicked into the correct tool in the drafting library. Sometimes it can get confusing with all the different blocks. So make sure you clicked into the correct tool. If you have clicked into the correct tool, you can start a chat with us down here and just have us take a look at your account and help you troubleshoot. And if you haven't made a purchase for that tool and you want to, you can be redirected to the pattern and block shop and go and activate your tool. So, okay, before we get drafting and we hop into the tools, let me just show you quickly in your account how you can add measurement profiles. So these will be custom measurement profiles that you can fill in, and then they will auto-populate the form when you hop into your tool. So you can access measurement profiles here, or you can access them via your account here. And basically you can load all your saved profiles, or you can add new ones. Let's go Lola. I can click on these little drop downs and then add in my custom measurements. And then if I want to, let's say, edit a profile I already have, without creating a whole new thing, I could go in here and I can edit my profile. So that way, when I hop into the tool, everything is ready to go. And if you have clients that are going to be repeat clients, and even if they're not going to be repeat clients, it's handy to have the profile saved so you can make any adjustments to the patterns. Okay, so we've updated our measurement profiles. Another option we have is to hop into the measurement tables. These are already preloaded into the tools, but if we want to, for example, use the measurement table instead of custom measurements, or if we have some custom measurements but not all of them, and we need to reference to kind of fill things in, we can use the measurement tables. So you can hop in here to do a quick reference instead of doing it in the tool. So let's see, for example, my waist is a 71 centimeters, but my bust is 82. So I would come in here and be like, okay, let me kind of average this out, and I'm going to grab the hip measurement, I'm going to grab my bust radius measurement, I'm going to grab my waist to waist measurement. I highly recommend, if you're new to MiSlope and new to custom measurements, to use the measurement tables in the tool and then swap out the horizontal measurements and use the vertical measurements depending on who you're drafting for. For example, myself, I have a waist and a bust that are different. So I think my bust it's smaller than a size 2, but then my hips are a size 10. So that is quite variance, but the vertical measurements stay within a pretty reasonable range. So we got nape to waist, we got waist to hip. These are all the vertical measurements. So I would just, let's say, fill in the form with a size 8, and then I would just go in and change the bust to 82 and change my hip to 100 and change my waist to 71. So I'm working on those horizontal measurements. So recap here for measurements before we even hop into the tool. We have our custom measurements here that we can fill in. We can access our measurement tables here, and we can do mix and match our custom measurements with the measurement tables, so that way, you know, we have a complete measurement profile, because the tools will not create a pattern unless they are filled out completely. We can't fill out half the measurements and then press submit. Everything needs to be filled out completely. So if we're missing anything, I highly recommend referencing the measurement tables. Okay, so let's hop in to the drafting library. So let's say I just made my purchase. I consulted the measurement tables. I filled in my measurement profiles. I'm gonna hop into, we're gonna go basic for right now. Let's just hop into a sloper. Let's do the dartless to hip block. So I'm gonna let it load. If the background is gray, we just need to hold on a second. If you cleared your browser and cleared your cookies, or it's your first time hopping on, it does take a second to load. Once you see that background photo loaded, then you can hop in and start entering all your measurements. Let's hop into the one-piece dartless sloper. So when we first hop into the tool, we have two options. So we have our measurement profiles here, and then if we want to draft from the ASTM size table, we can pull that in to the tool here. We have to pick our measurement tool. Now, once you've filled in, you either have to pick your personal profile or an ASTM size table. When you select an option, it will overwrite everything in the tool. So if I'm selecting a custom measurement profile, it's going to put my custom measurements. If I go in and I put Missy Kirby size 12, it's going to put my size 12. But like I was mentioning in my example, so Missy Kirby, let's do a size 6, okay? And I'm going to draft in centimeters. And what I was mentioning before when we were looking at the size tables, my waist is a 72 and my hip is 100, and my bust is an 82. So I'm leaving those vertical measurements for now to, see. But yes, if you are unsure of what the input is calling for, so like waist, nape to waist, if you're like, what is that? You can click on these little rulers. You can click on the rulers and a box will pop up with a video that will show you how to take
your waist measurement, wrap a piece of string around the
have a YouTube channel where you can go and view a playlist of how to take all the measurements. So this is one gigantic video that just walks through all the different measurements, and you can just keep that as a reference, as well as we have other playlists that showcase the pattern options, demos, sewing tutorials, all of that. So that's all on our YouTube channel, I believe. So we can close that out. It's linked down here. If at any point you're in here and you're confused, you can start a chat with us. I will answer morning, noon, and night, unless I'm sleeping or putting out a fire. So you will definitely get an answer within 24 hours from someone. Okay, so we went over profiles, we went over the size tables, we went over how to customize the form, and now finally our negative ease. So there's a video. Okay, I've written instructions here. We have a video on our YouTube channel of how to calculate negative ease and do the stretch test. And then we also have a video in our tutorials section. So we have a ton of tutorials. I don't even have this all updated, how to calculate negative ease, but also in our blog, I believe that there is negative ease. We have a video here on how to do a stretch test.
Both sides of your fabric, and
so you can watch that. But essentially, you can use the calculator here or use it on that page. So our fabric at rest, let's say we cut out a 10 centimeter inch rectangle, we put in 10, and then we want to stretch the fabric, not to the max, because remember, this is how it's going to fit around the body. And this is a subjective measurement because some people might want more compression. Some people might want it to be a little looser. It also depends on, you know, are you going to be using, you know, your main fabric and your lining? Like, what do those properties work together? So you could even do the stretch test with both of them together. But if you were to do, let's say, a reversible swimwear piece, you would have to do the stretch test with both your layers because it will stretch less. Anyways, so subjective, so don't pull it to the max. Really I would say be conservative, otherwise you're gonna encounter a garment that's too tight. But let's say we're going 10 and comfortably it stretches to 12. We have a stretch percentage of 16.67%. You can also see the fabric properties depending on where you're buying it from, that they've conducted stretch tests, and you can see, but that, once again, that's gonna be to the max. So yeah. So I have my stretch percentage. I'm going to throw that in and I'm going to go submit measurements. And now we're going to have two options here. We're going to have download full page, and then we're going to have download tiled A4 printing. So I recommend that you open both in the browser. If you're in Google Chrome, it will open in a browser. If you're in Safari, I believe it just downloads, so it doesn't open in the browser, which is kind of annoying, but as I recommend using Google Chrome. Yes. So what I recommend is download the full page. So open to see what your full page looks like, and download and save it anyway, so you have it as a reference, because no one wants to do a puzzle. The tiles are the puzzle. You do not want to do a puzzle and then find out at the end that something was wrong. You put in a weird measurement and things just look janky. So I recommend opening both. So this tile, the tiled version, actually, let's go back. The full page version, so this guy, if you're using Adobe Illustrator or using some sort of vector drafting software, you can open this up in your vector drafting software and make adjustments, edit your pattern, do all of that good stuff. If you are, and if you are using a projector, you can shoot it up to the sky, to the projector. Get a projector. It will change your life. It will change your sewing life, I promise. Anyways, so the tiled printing, this is what you're gonna print it like a regular document. The only thing that you need to make sure, I don't think it's gonna work because I don't have a printer, or it's connected to a printer. Let me see. I used to have a printer, but the ink cost more than human blood, so not like I know what that cost. Okay, scale, you want to scale it to 100. Yes. So you're scaling it to 100. You don't want to scale it fit to paper. None of that printable area. No. We are scaling it to 100 on I have seen that sometimes these little notifications here, grid 5x5, could get cut off. So depending on your printer and the settings, these margins might get a little cut off. Hopefully not. Let me know if that is a common issue. But yeah, so you can see in these tiles, it indicates how to put this together. So we have tile row 1, column 1. So row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2. So you can really lay them out, and then you want to line up these borders next to each other, so all the lines, everything, you overlap the pages, you tape it, all that good stuff. You could fold over the pages, get a projector. And then after you've done all that, order a projector off Amazon and start drilling into your ceiling, because, oh man, using paper. What happens if you've submitted all your measurements and the download full page, these buttons don't appear? First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna see, did I fill out the entire form? So let me do a demo here. I see red. So I see I'm missing spots that I need to fill in. So you wanna look for the red. If there's red, then you go fill that in, you submit. See, there's no download. So I'm just gonna throw in my size. I'm gonna throw in my negative ease, and then everything turns green. If everything is turning green and you're still not seeing these buttons, double check your measurements to make sure there's no crazy measurement errors. So this is what I was mentioning before. You know, when you're new to custom measurements, measurement errors, especially the vertical measurement errors, they can create some funky results, things overlapping. I have a blog post that actually talks about that here. Blog and how vertical measurements stack. So we see nape to waist, waist to bust, all that. If those measurements overlap with each other, you're gonna get some funky things happening. So that's why I recommend, if you're new, use the ASTM size tables as a starting point until you get more comfortable with taking custom measurements. Okay, so, and then if you've done everything, you double check your measurements, you've also used the ASTM size table, or something's not working right, please start a chat and I'll help you troubleshoot and we'll work through it together. I will find the pattern. I've been looking at these numbers and I know how things work. The thing with this tool is it's very, very sensitive. What you put in is what you get out. So if you put in something that overlaps, the program is gonna go, whoa. Everything is precisely mapped to the body. So minimal room for error, which, I mean, not ideal, but it is ideal because we're trying to create precise custom made sewing patterns. Okay, so is in doubt, just start a chat and you're gonna get a one-on-one with me and we're gonna figure it out. The chats always happen, fun fact, when I'm about to take a sip of coffee or eat a meal. So that's when I know something has gone wrong. Okay, so printing instructions. We have the printing instructions here. If we're confused, right, there is a measurement square. So make sure that once you've taped your pattern together, that everything aligns. Don't draw on any lines. Make sure measurement square is a 1 inch by 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. Okay, let's talk about the difference between patterns and blocks or slopers. So a pattern and a block is a block will have no seam allowance. It's going to have no design lines. It's going to be very, very basic. It's your very basic base that you're going to go in and you're going to draw your design lines and you're going to make the pattern of your dreams. And you're starting with a base that is fit to the body. So it's bare bones, it's done on purpose. If you need to pop out patterns or you're gonna do something really complex, you don't have time to, make all the adjustments to simplify the pattern. So blocks are just bare bones, no seam allowance, no nothing. It's really meant for you to cut at it. Now we have patterns. Patterns are different. Patterns come with two main differentiating factors. We have seam allowance, and we have all these pattern options that you can choose from. So let's hop into an example. And you can see in the pattern section, here these are all our pattern options. Like there's a lot going on versus the block. So if you want to do something really custom, this is gonna slow you down. So with this as well, with the pattern options, you can refer to the videos, and it will be a video of me
Additional neck
explaining and showing you what it does. And in a lot of the patterns I have optional as a default. This is essentially how I have decided that, you know, the final pattern should look. So if, for example, you went to go buy a ready-made pattern, those design lines are in place. And you might pattern hack them, but that is how the original designer intended. So I put the optional as how I intend it to be. But what's beautiful about it is you can change it to be whatever your heart desires. I really designed these tools to be dynamic. So if you're unsure, like I said, you click on the measurement tape. If you don't want to make any changes or you want to see what the base looks like, you leave the options as optional. So let's use my measurements here. This is a Leo. This is an open back Leo. We have coverage, straight line coverage, contour coverage. This is, you know, more coverage on the booty versus less coverage. So there's that contoured line versus a straight line, which is better for tension. I explained this in the in-depth video. So for each pattern, there should be an in-depth video walking through how the pattern works. So I would refer to that. You can see it on our YouTube channel, or you can hop into, let's say, the product page. There are sewing instructions and custom drafting instructions, as well as all the custom things you can do. Right, so back to here. So with patterns, you just have those options and you can play with them, and you can really generate like an unlimited amount of patterns in one tool. You just keep changing things and pressing submit and playing with it and seeing how far you can push it and find the limits. Okay, so let me just show you really quick. This is an example. So mean seam allowance, that would be your main seams. What are we drafting in centimeters? Okay, that'll be way too much seam, or way too little seam allowance. Arm and leg seam allowance, if you want to do like binding. I really create these tools like with construction in mind. So let's put that at 0. Back enclosure seam allowance, because we need to get into it somehow. We'll put 1, and then I'll put my negative ease, and then I'm going to submit, and then I'm going to see my pattern here. So like I said, you can go, like, this is one submit, right? I can go in and just go adjust like all of the options. Wait a sec, I press submit again. And then I could dynamically change the pattern and just play with it right in the browser and see like, oh, that looks good. See, look, I'm doing no neck ease, full shoulder. Okay, so we discussed the difference between a pattern and a block. We discussed, you know, how to adjust the pattern, measurement tables, measurement profiles, account. I think that should be it. We do have a FAQ at the bottom of the page in case you have any questions that I may have not addressed, but how do I access MiSlope and pattern? Pretty much everything we've gone through here. Who is MiSlope for? How does it work? Yeah. So any questions, like I said, you can chat with me down below, direct lines to me. And if you love the tools, please leave a review. Ideally with pictures, but I understand we don't want to include faces, especially if we're designing for our tiny little dancers. Or gymnasts, or figure skaters, or anyone really, but flat lays, or just like a written review, really appreciate it. Okay, all right. Have an amazing time with the patterns and blocks, and I can't wait to see what you make.